sort of, how to say, I kind of got wrapped up in playing a Pokemon game while I was testing stream stuff. And I only got to test stream stuff because otherwise, if I don't, it will go out in like 3 minutes and we have to restart the whole stream again. That means restarting my computer, because my Elgato works like that for some reason. I don't know why computer does that to the Elgato. I don't know. I've asked people around, they're just like, I don't know. It's probably something wrong with your Elgato. I checked. Elgato don't... This is actually not the problem. The Elgato's not the problem. So I don't know. But when that happens, I tend to be doing something else at the time. And I was playing on my 3DS, just as I do sometimes. And there's this one game called Pokemon Trozy. It's like the game that I think either predates or is after the fact of Pokemon Shuffle release. And it does a similar thing to it, and it's kind of addictive, and I honestly don't remember if I actually beat that game. I think I did, but I don't think I did. Suffice to say, I got caught up in a game of it. It's pretty dang fun, actually. I'm not gonna lie. It actually is pretty fun to play through that game. But it's definitely one of those things where just you lose time and whatnot. And on top of that, I was already late to begin with, so it's kind of whatever. But hey, that's what kind of happens. And on top of that, I'm late in terms of this not being done last month. But that's because we had certain other things going on and whatnot. Also, hi Audacity, how you doing? It's a pleasure having you around again, as always. We're going to be starting on episode 5, The Adventures of the Unspeakable Story. I don't know how something can be unspeakable, yet it's a story, but okay. This shall be interesting, shan't it? The very last one, and it sucks because, like, I pretty much did the rest of it that way, and I feel like if I had, like, the extra week that I took off for grieving, I would have had it, but, you know, just, I was grieving, I did not feel up to it, did not feel up to that task. So everything's going to kind of be pushed back a little bit. The next game I will be playing this month will be effectively Final Fantasy IX, but that's after this case. That's after episode 5. And episode 5 is the last case in the Great Ace Attorney Adventures. And that means it's the longest case out of the bunch. And that also means that we're not quite done yet. So without further stalling for time, let's get this going. The Hound of the Bascular Bills?
It's coming! Sholmes' cry pierced through the thick wall of fog around us. Wisps of vapor flowed over the pistol as I cocked it, and I waited, breathlessly, in the stillness. The silence lasted for what seemed an eternity, until, at last, it appeared. From the shadows of the cloud, an enormous beast sprang out upon us. A hound it was, but not such a hound as any mortal has ever seen. Its eyes glowed with a smoldering glare. The whole of its ox-sized body was outlined in white-hot flames. Its rumbling pant and hideous howl, so terrified was I that I began to tremble with fear. "Look well, Wilson," Sholmes declared, gazing upon the mystical beast. "For this is the diabolical hound of the Baskervilles."
So is this like an actual, like, story from Sherlock Holmes then? Because I recall this being a thing on, in, what was it called? Was it called Sherlock? I think it was specifically just called Sherlock. Part of the Doctor Who, supernatural Wholock, as it were. Bad times in Tumblr. Our first 2 months in London passed by in a flash. In that discerning courtroom experience, we were first thrown into on the day we arrived in the country. And in Sosuke-san's terrible ordeal that had followed closely behind, we had emerged victorious. However, there then came a abrupt end to our opportunities to appear in court, which was hardly surprising, of course, since I was nothing more than an amateur. an student of law from a faraway land. So life in our little office was very quiet. That is, until it was shattered one day by that fateful telegram. Ooh. 15th April, 9:13 a.m. Naruhodo's illegal consulency. Consulency? That morning, I was woken by an unreserved knocking on the door by a telegram boy. And after he'd gone, Susato-san's behavior became very obviously strange. Susato-san? Yes! It is time to leave for court already. Let me see. What case is it today? I don't think I'm scheduled to defend anyone at the moment, am I? Oh, no, of course not. How silly of me. But I think Iris said she would make us breakfast this morning. So shall we go down to Mr. Sholmes' suite? Yes! Iris makes the most delicious breakfast food. She does, doesn't she? And once our bellies are full, we can leave for court in fighting fit form. Not the other way. Let me see. What case is it today? Here we go again. Okay, let's present her with the thing. It means a great deal to me, you know. That you cherish his armband so, and wear it each time you appear in court. Well, it's very important to me. It's what shows that I'm a lawyer. And whenever I wear it, I feel as though it gives me strength through Kazuma. I absolutely can't be without it, especially when I'm on a critical point in a trial. But just the other day, I noticed you were wearing it when we went to visit that park. Sometimes I forget to take it off. Alright, let's examine areas. I want to see. So this is the tea set that Susato-san brought with her from Japan. Let's hope she hasn't noticed me slipping sugar and milk into my cup when she makes it. It's just so bitter. Tea is a drink to be enjoyed, Naruto-san. You really don't have to force yourself to drink it, you know. I don't like to see you screw up your face so. Oh, that's cute. They are very cute together. I like their dynamic a whole bunch. That spade has been here since we started renting the place. Oh, that's not a spade, Naruto-san. It's a shovel. No, shovels are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a spade. No, spades are for digging. That's for scooping up loose material. It's a shovel. I don't want to dig a hole for myself, so let's leave it. Are they having fights about spades? What is this? It's spring at last, and the weather is warmer now. I love the smell of the fire and the steam rising from the kettle. Oh, would you like some tea, Naruto-san? Thank you, Susato-san. But I'm alright for now. With that green tea Susato-san makes me from time to time, nourishes unique herbal infusions. This place is paradise for a true tea lover. Green tea is such a wonderful occupant to British tea cakes, don't you think? Mayhaps. We've only been here in London for about 2 months, but my desk is starting to look a little messy already. You could tidy up once in a while. Susato-san, I always say, making a mess is a small sacrifice to pay for being able to further our studies. And time spent tidying up is time you can't devote to the same cause. And time spent on ridiculous arguments is time that could be better spent on some simple housework. She wins, but I'm supposed to be the lawyer here. No way, dude, no way. The Durama doll I brought with me from home, still with only one eye colored in. I said I colored the other eye once I won my first court case here in Britain, but you have one, haven't you? Twice, in fact. because I feel as though I'm still lacking as a lawyer. I tell you what, why don't you color the other eye in once you think I'm a proper, fully fledged lawyer? If you insist. Oh, that's cute. That's a cute thing. They're just really close to each other like that. This must be a telegram. Let's see. Ah! No, you mustn't look at that. Not under any circumstances. Alright, I won't. I'm so sorry, Naruto-san, but you can be very mischievous at times. And put the telegram away if you don't want people looking at it. Buddy, like, that's not yours to read. It's not yours to read, my dude. Oh, that's nice. It's a nice little area. We were rather lucky to find the old aquarium left behind here. The prawns we put in there are doing rather well, and the enemies too. Nominees or nominees? It's a wonderful invention, isn't it? The sea behind glass, inside your room. Another example of Great Britain's greatness. Having to clean it out and change the water isn't so great though, is it? Do you know I never seen inside your room there, Susato-san? I never even peeped inside. I should think so too. A young maiden's private chamber is a place of bittersweet secrets, you know? Whatever you say, young maiden. Why are the onions here? They're just like straight up onions. Okay. So that's her room. Alright then. So Naruto probably has a room like right there too, right? I would hope so. It's actually a pretty nice attic. Like legitimately, like people could live here. So I guess we'll just converse then. Sasaki-san. I suppose Sasaki-san will have arrived back in Japan by now, wouldn't he? Yes, I should think so. He left immediately after that terrible ordeal. Which would mean he should have completed the voyage already, or just be a few days away. A fortnight ago he had that very long telegram from him. Do you remember? Complaining of seasickness. But by and large, it seems the voyage has been going well. Is something wrong, Naruto-san? I was just wondering. What might have become of Sasaki-san had he stayed in London, that's all. You mean as regards Lord Van Zieks, the Reaper? Yes, I can't help wondering if seasickness would have paled into insignificance in that case. The Reaper. What is it they say? No, that no one who stands in the dock can be saved from the Reaper, right? Like the way that nightmarish trial ended on the very day we arrived in London. Even 2 months on, the cause of that dreadful fire is still a mystery. Yes, but at least Sasaki-san is safely out of the country now. Presumably that means that the curse of the Reaper can only take effect within confines of the city of London, perhaps? Even if that's the case, it's little comfort. I have a terrible sense of foreboding. If the legend of the Reaper is to be believed, it would mean he wields the sword of justice himself. Come to think of it, I wonder what he's been up to these past 2 months. Surely not wielding that sword against more adequate defendants. More acquitted. No, I don't think so. Apparently, Lord Van Zieks hasn't appeared in court once since our last encounter. Oh? Yes, since Sasaki-san's trial. He has withdrawn from judicial service again, it seems. Really? Just like before. When he wasn't seen in court at all for several years. So it's just been me who's had to face him in his recent spat of trials then. Just my luck. I wonder if luck doesn't come into it. Sorry, what was that? Oh, nothing. Never mind. Okay, the telegram then. So what was it about? The telegram that was delivered this morning. I mean... Oh, a telegram? I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry, but you're not going to get away with that. Well, I didn't think I would. Actually, don't give it a moment's thought. It's nothing. Nothing interesting. Boring, in fact. It was just a boring old telegram. That's 3 times now that she's tried and failed to convince me it was nothing. I promise that I'll tell you about it at some point. Alright, I understand. Is she like heading back home? Is that what's gonna happen? She's gonna head back home? Okay, so that's all there is to it. Let's move. To Sholmes Suite. Got to Sholmes, got to Sholmes. 15th April. Sholmes Suite. Morning, Reno. Morning, Susie. Good morning, Iris. Iris? What is it, Reno? Reno? What is that terrible noise? It sounds like a cat being strangled. Ah, yes. I used that too. Harley is in the best form this morning, it seems. He's down in the dumps. Hello. Shady Sans, how you doing? This stream seems kind of shady to me. What? It's because you're here, Shady Sans. That's why. Hello, Mr. Sholmes. Good morning. Good morning to die, perhaps. Well, I'm doing better than Sholmes here, I'll tell you that much, Shitty Sans. I mean, there's some things that are getting me a little bit irked in terms of recent news, in terms of the One Piece and whatnot. And some things with, we're trying to get an AC installed. They really bother you, man. Like you ask for like an estimate, everyone's like, boop, boop, boop. Yeah, the Yamato thing. I'm just kind of like, how the fuck is Yamato not a trans man? Just... I don't agree with it. I really don't. I need to look into it myself, personally, but yeah. I'm not convinced, honestly. I'm really not convinced. And I just hate that, like, a lot of transphobic One Piece YouTubers are gonna be like very like, oh yeah, we got it right. Like, fuck you. Like, honestly, it's so fucking transcode to, like, how can you not? Still. Doing better than Sholmes here, who is apparently dying. Yeah, it wasn't, like, it's not just implying, it's coded in there. I cannot stress enough that it was coded in there. Like, there's such a thing as transcoding and gay coding and things like that. And that doesn't mean for sure, but, like, you know, just... you feel like it'd be better writing and whatnot. But whatever. I'll deal with it. It's not the end of the world for me. I'm just kind of annoyed. But Sholmes, he seems like he's at the end of his thing. You don't know what coding means? I don't know the social aspect per se, so I have to actually get like a definition. So we're gonna have a little educational thing here that we're gonna be doing. That's not it. What is social coding? Things being coded. Yeah, I'm not getting a lot of that stuff, so I'm just gonna have to go off the fly on this. I'm just gonna go off the fly of what coding is effectively, and that's like putting out certain things and evidences of something being the way that it is without ever explicitly stating it. Like, you could have various things out in the open that show this or that, and it attaches to the fact that someone could be of this or that, like ethnicity, orientation, or race. So, like, if you see somebody that may look white, but, like, has, like, a bunch of, like, Asian stuff in it, or, like, they have, like, a bunch of Mexican stuff in it, and, like, all those things, and, like, all that such, that's kind of what it is. That's the name of what you've been doing? Yeah, it's stuff like that, effectively. That's effectively what it is. But there's a better definition for it, and, like, there's things called, like, code switching, which a lot of Black Americans do, because you have to present yourself in a certain way, and that's effectively what coding does. It presents somebody in a certain way. So just because someone looks one way, you could, like, show a bunch of things around them, or a bunch of actions around them that makes them present in a different way. That's all it really is, without being explicit about it. It's fairly important in terms of social dynamics, and in terms of like other dynamics and whatnot. Like, it's not something that you would say to somebody like, oh, you're coded this way. You don't say that about somebody. You just have an inkling that they may be this or that. But in terms of, like, reading something or like having a certain personality, you could say that it's, like, coded that way. But it's usually talked in a third person, not directly at somebody either. Crying some of my character, Sam. Yeah, you could do stuff like that where you're just like, because you don't want to be, like, explicit in certain things. Like, Sherlock, for instance, is being coded as an arrogant asshole that doesn't quite get everything right. But he's actually a lot more caring than he leads on. But there's, like, a bunch of other stuff, like, in his little area that, like, suggest otherwise. Like, if you look at Sholmes really quick. Iris in particular, looks to be very much in love with Sholmes, in the sense that, like she idolizes him and, like, basically solves his own deductions, and she's actually the big brains behind the deduction sense of the thing. And that's probably why Sholmes is sad, because he probably didn't solve something. It's probably what happened. You look miserable, and the way you were playing the violin before. My analytical mind is dead. Music is dead. The world is dead. Damn this, ballad existence. That's all it is, my dear fellow. Nothing of consequence. I'm afraid I don't understand. Well, Iris, isn't it time we ate? Some dry toast and insipid coffee for me, if it's not too much trouble. I keep calling them discount. Well, discount rejects Chinese knockoffs, etc. Oh, okay. Kitty! That was the same cat from before. Oh, look. It's, Waka Hi. Good morning, boy. He's wearing a little bow tie! Look at his little boy toe ass motherfucker! Oh my god! He's wearing a little bow tie! Listen, pets that have, like, little accessories like that just makes me so happy. I love it so much. Like, give, like, a little, like, bearded lizard or something, like a little hat, or like a dog a little scarf or something. It's just so cute. It's so cute. Yeah, it's really cute, right? That must be some sort of tiny door for cats to use. But how did he get there? Iris made it, probably. Well then, everyone, time for breakfast. Oh, wonderful. Let me help you, Iris. It would indeed be a fine day to die. I knew something looked different. Something's missing from Mr. Sholmes' desk. He's so sad. Well, it's time to present him with this. Mr. Sholmes, can I ask you your opinion about this? You lured me to raise my legged head from the promise of some mental exhaustion. Yet in my morbid depression, I am confronted with the most mundane of problems. Oh. My mind finds greater stimulation in the unforgiving monotony of the floor than in your miserable offering. Always glad to help. Let's see here. Give the bearded lizard a hat and what was it called? Monocle? Yeah, monocle. And call him Lord Bearson the First. Oh my god! You're still gonna do that if you get a pet? Oh, yes. I asked my girlfriend and she really wants to get bearded lizards as a pet. So we're gonna get 2 bearded lizards as a pet. If we ever properly move in together and we have the time. And that will be the grandchildren for my mom. She'll have bearded lizards to feed and whatnot. They're gonna be really cute too. I asked her and she wants 2 specifically. So I just said I just want to name one and you could name the other one and then they could both be yours to play with because I do not want to take the responsibility. So that's how it kind of went on. So yeah. She also had a pet snake, and I've always kind of wanted a pet snake, but it's just kind of like whatever. Also want to get a pet cat too. My head weighs heavy on my shoulders. Bud. Let's go examine things. Or we can examine Iris. These are small mementos of Mr. Sholmes' past cases, I think. If he'd been involved in my case, I wonder if the beef steak from La Caval would have been displayed here. A mystery shoe, a curious hammer, some mystery dancing men, a bust of Napoleon. Ah, what an entrancing collection. Looks like an untidy assortment of junk to me. Rather like what's on my own shelves. Well, you really ought to keep your things in order, Mr. Nardo. No favoritism there at all. Yep, this whole pile of junk as well. It looks like that huge metal chest is being used as a table for tea and coffee. Seems very sturdy with an equally sturdy lock. Mr. Nardo, you mustn't go around opening things. I always have to keep an eye on you, don't I? You're very mischievous. How did you come to that conclusion? Oh my god! She's kind of like an older sister type mixed together with like a very doting type. Like she's always saying that Naruto is much prettier than her and things like that, but all at the same time it's just like being very don't you dare. Not quite a mom, not quite a Muppet. Fire's burning comfortably in the current again today. It's a very different feeling to the Japanese hibachi somehow. Oh, look at that photographic printed lady displayed on the mantelpiece. Could it be? Yes, it must be. It's the woman. Oh, how exciting. Is that supposed to mean something to me? The woman. There she is. She's the woman. I have no idea what that is, but I got an calculator for us. So that's good. There's all sorts of these shelves. Chemistry, apparatus, books, papers, and lots of things I've never seen before. It's all heaped up so high I can't help feeling the whole lot is going to tumble at any moment. Oh, it's such a charming, untidy collection of paraphernalia, isn't it? Just looks messy to me, like my desk. But you, Mr. Naruto, must learn to tidy up after yourself. No favoritism there, then. Right? Right? Yeah, I think we're all good here. Talk to you. Like a Hai. Mr. Natsumi's cat seems to have settled in his new home then. Oh yes, and I've become very attached to little Waggy. It would appear his previous owner has completely forgotten to him. Cats are unfeeling creatures. The mews are as empty as the hearts of the mews. Oh, that's so cute! If Mr. Natsumi had no intention of taking Waggy back to Japan, I wonder why he kept him in the first place. I expect he would have taken him if he could. But pets are strictly forbidden aboard steamships in our experience. And for good reason. Terrible things can happen if the rules of passage are not obeyed. No, I don't mind, because Waggy is adorable. Aww. Yes, he really is. Oh yes, what about the door? I remember seeing that tiny thing in the main door before. Where did that come from? Oh, you noticed? You were observant on Bruno. Look, I use this. It's my latest invention. What is that? I call it the Flavomatic. Gosh, a machine for making doors just for cats? That's right. It can make a cat flap for a little furry friend like Waggy in seconds. And it could do it in any door at all, no matter what it's made of. It's very powerful, you see? Wouldn't it have been quicker just to make the cat flap rather than make a machine to make the cat flap? Well, yes, maybe. But now I could make cat flaps anywhere I like. Oh, I think it's wonderful. You must make one for us in the door of our office upstairs, Iris. She really knows how to come up with unconventional inventions, this girl. Oh, Farrah would be like, do more stuff with her, I guess? Ooh. Iris's beautiful tea set is there on the table, as usual. A cup of one of her special herbal blends always helps me to relax when I'm feeling the strain. The English pastime of tea has many similarities with our own tea ceremonies, customs, don't you think? She did the... I need to do that. I need to do this. Wait, how, like... It was like that. Hey, Cactar, how you doing? Inspect the bottles. I'll inspect the bottles in a bit. It's the idea of hospitality behind it. That's the essence of tea. See? Inspecting the bottles. It's a charming little white shelf. And full of charming little bottles, too. But the contents of them aren't quite so charming, it seems. Science is the future, Mr. Naruto. You can't deny it. I'm saving my money so I could buy some chemistry apparatuses as well. Log? Chemistry? Take down those? What diverse skills you boost, Mrs. Sato. I'm dizzy, I'm starving, dying, fading away into nothing. No! Get your bimbo wife to feed you. Isn't that why you had her? As useful as they are, I'm not sure that my throwing skills are worthy of inclusion in that list. In the last 2 weeks, Bimbo don't take care of me. No! Little Cactar! I'm sorry to hear that. That's so sad, honestly. So where Iris notes down ideas, isn't it? Let's see. What does it say today? The Buscoop Valley Mystery. Oh, how intriguing. It must be the title of Iris's latest work. Oh my. I wonder what fantastic tale awaits us. Sato-san looks like an angel, but I bet she's dreaming of the most unsavory crime you could imagine. Right? Like a little duck in there. Why is there a duck in there? Nothing there. Kind of think of it, I haven't seen Iris doing much writing recently, but there's paper already set up in the typewriter. Look, as if she's about to start. That reminds me, when I mentioned that Iris was in the process of writing a full-fledged novel, Mr. Natsumi was most impressed. Yes, Mr. Natsumi. That's what I'll be doing, too. Once I'm back in Japan, he said that, tightly clutching his fists and teeth. That's nice. I guess that's all there is to it. You're glad to lose 7 pounds, so yeah, it's always good to lose weight when you want to lose weight, but still, the fact that your bimbo's not taking care of you. Look at Mr. Sholmes' desk, it's completely clear. Yeah. Isn't that enormous machine usually on it? I can never hope to understand what goes on in the great detective's mind, Mr. Naruto. See, she did it again! She did that little thing again! I want to know this mannerism. I want to have Sasato's mannerisms because they're so cute. And they go, like it's too cute. Having a job? Yeah, exactly. You didn't get her for her to have a job. That's not what bimbos are for. Why, next time we're invited, we may find he's spanking the entire suite. That's scarily plausible, actually. Let's see here. Well, that covered all of that. Okay. So I got there. Well, yeah, I think that's it. That's all of it. It was just like one little thing. It looks like it's gonna be like the boss's room from freaking AI the Suminian Files, but it turns out that it's just not. The missing machine. Mr. Sholmes, I don't like to pry, but your desk looks rather empty today. Ah, well done, Mr. Sato. Your observation skills do you credit. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, they pale in insignificance when compared to yours. You struggle not to notice, wouldn't you? You mean Harley's great analytical scope? That's at Windy Banks now. Sorry? Is that a Windy Bank? No, Windy Banks, the pawnbrokery. Pawn? What? You mean you pawned that enormous machine of yours? It has some considerable value, you see. Quite undeservingly. But isn't it a very important machine for your work? I do wish you had consulted us if your situation had become so desperate. I should have gladly passed what little income I have to you. Fucking Susato confirmed, simp. Confirmed! Her working for 4 weeks is going to be tough. Ugh, we're only 1 week in. Well, make sure to mark your bimbo properly, otherwise you might lose her in those 4 weeks. She's not supposed to be off having a job and such. What is she gonna do? You know? She's not supposed to be thinking for herself that much. That's a little too much thinking, that's all I'm saying. Dear madam, things are far from desperate. But the pawnbroker has your wonderful machine. How could it be anything but desperate? Making use of a pawnbrokery is quite ordinary here in London, I assure you. It is? It doesn't sound ordinary at all. It would seem that neither of you will fully understand how pawnbrokering works. Oh. What's to understand exactly? How pawnbrokery works. What do you mean when you said you didn't fully understand how pawnbrokery works? To the people of London, pawnbrokeries are akin to banks. Banks? On Mondays, merchants relinquish their finest jackets and trappings to their pawnbroker of choice. With the money they receive in return, they are able to trade happily through the week. And then on Saturdays, they go to recover the things using the money they've earned. I had no idea. That has been a fascinating lesson for us. Everyone does it, you see, especially people in inner London. Should they have money to spare, they would purchase another fine jacket. Not to wear, obviously, but to pawn, should the need arise. Oh, how ingenious! So whenever we have something that's getting in the way, we leave it at, well, one bank, as you see. Pawnbrokery could be thought of as extremely secure vault. Who would have thought that even pawnbrokers are different here in Great Britain? Of course, you have to watch Hurley with it. Sometimes he pawns things he really shouldn't. Don't you, Hurley? Did he pawn something that you shouldn't have? What doesn't matter? The world is dead to me now. Damn! What happened with him? You seem to be very unhappy this morning, Mr. Sholmes. What's happened? It used to be the case that in my hands, this violin sung like the dawn chorus, its mezzolite tones would make flowers bloom. It would? But now, the muses are unamused with me. The goddess of music have thrown me over. Whatever you mean, Mr. Sholmes? For hours I have bowed, for days even. Through the night I have endeavored to no avail. That sound, my tone, is lost. That brilliant, clear, unwavering tone, gone forever! No more sights of unbridled emotion! Well, you haven't been practicing much lately, have you, Hurley? Don't worry, I'm sure it will come back to you in time. Heed my words, Mr. Nardo. The goddess of the arts are fickle. One day they bestow a genius on a man. The next, they unmercifully withdraw it. Oh, dear. What is this is happening to me? They take the turn I have for the violin from me. What is left, for Pete's sake? Deduction, perhaps? Isn't that what you're known for? Meow! Oh, what was that? Wakahai? What was that? Oh no! Wakahi's tangled up in your violin! I think he thinks it's a toy. No, what's he doing to it? Oh dear, Mr. Sholmes versus violin. Why should I care? What? I shouldn't be surprised. The cat is a more accomplished musician than I, now. Man, he's just full out depressed. Mr. Sholmes really is in poor spirits, isn't he? Well, anyway, I'll put it back where it lives. Shall I, Hurley? Of the cat's reach, if possible. Maybe we should assess the damage. Do we converse again? Not really. Examine. I guess we go talk to Iris, yes? No, there's a violin. Violin. This is a violin, is it? It's a Stravis, one of the finest violins in the world, made by the renowned Italian luthier, Antonio Strevin. Oh, I see. It doesn't look like anything special to me. I happened upon it covered in dust, languishing in a pawn shop down a nondescript back alley. The broker had no idea of its value, so I was able to purchase it for a mere 55 shillings. How honorable of you. Until today, it has been my faithful companion in every great Paganini inspired performance I have made. I ask you, is there a reason to live in a world devoid of music? To tolerate this black existence? No! There is none! Mr. Sholmes? What, dear madam, what? My thoughts are preoccupied with fancies of release from this dull routine. Well, it's about the violin. It looks very different to normal, don't you think? What do you mean, Mrs. Otto? Oh, Sis is right! Yes, the tone of the wood is completely different. And that's not all. I'm sure there was no cracks here before. Wait, it's not even the right size, is it? What's this? I'm terribly sorry to tell you this, Mr. Sholmes, but that instrument isn't a violin at all. Then what? I believe it's an entirely different instrument called a viola. What? Mr. Sholmes, are you alright? You're right. You're quite right. This isn't my faithful Strevinus. So what? Pray, is this piece of stringed falsum not your faithful performing partner, then? Oh, I see what must have happened. You do, Iris? This is just a simple mix-up. Sounds like Iris might be able to tell us exactly what's happened if we ask her. Are we gonna get an Iris deduction again? Yay! I love Iris's deduction. They're actually really fun. Mix-up. What do you mean by a mix-up, Iris? Well, you see, this viola, I mean, was at Windabanky's until last week. At the pawnbrokers? I'm your so beloved musical partner. There is a proverb from the East, with which you are not, no doubt familiar, my dear fellows. Always let a beloved child travel. Yes, indeed. So you sent your beloved violin to the pawnbrokers in the hope that it would experience personal growth? Oh, what a wonderful idea. Last week I pawned my great endoscope in order to release my precious instrument. It appeared Mr. Windybake mistakenly furnished me with this dungery fiddle instead. But my ears cannot be deceived by the hollow timbre of this piece of timber. No, but your very every sense was deceived by the fact that it just had strings. Pshaw, a fine state of affairs this is, and why I always say, Mr. Nardo, never trust a pawnbroker. They will try to fiddle you every time. Fiddle faddle. At least they're not trying to diddle me. But earlier you told us to think of the pawnbrokery as an extremely secure vault. Come, Mr. Nardo. Dilly-dally will get you nowhere. Sorry? Crunching your toast with a vacant aspect. Freshing your coffee so obtusely. Are you not a little embarrassed by your own conduct, considering the urgency with which we are faced? We must visit Mr. Windybank's bookery at once. That's right, isn't Mr. Sholmes? Precisely, Miss Susato, without a moment's delay. But I haven't finished my bacon and eggs. My dear fellow, surely you do not still intend to crunch your bacon of extremely vacant aspect, to fresh your eggs even more obtusely. Alright, say no more. Let's go then. Don't worry, Lena. I'll be happy to heat it up for you again later. Oh, thank you, Iris. As it happens, I am rather curious to see what a British pawnbroker looks like. Okay, so let's go out here. Okay, examine. We're not supposed to be here, but we'll look anyway. Look all the different things in the window of the shop. Ah, that's Windybank's, the pawnbrokery. Looks much smarter than a pawnbrokery is in Japan, doesn't it? Yes, you're right. Find pawn shops at home rather unapproachable, personally. Reminds me of tearfully parting with my favorite fountain pen. Felt so miserable. What doesn't kill us makes us stronger, Mr. Naruto. Unfortunately, I will be killed. There's a hidden Mickey, everybody! Look at that! You're not being brainwashed. That's not what those hidden Mickeys are for. They're just for good old fun. They're specifically for brainwashing, actually. It's already been 2 months since we started lodging here above Mr. Sholmes' office. I still can't quite believe it. I never expected things would turn out like this. Oh, I know. To actually be sharing accommodation with the world's greatest detective. If I ever find myself before the court now, I will have not one regret. I don't know what you're talking about. But I'd be happy to defend you, of course. I think she means, like, in terms of, like, did you, like, do good in your life? In, like, the afterlife. Because there's, like, afterlife court, I guess. Or something. Okay, nothing there. "15th April. Windybank's Pawnbrokery." So this is a British pawnbrokery? Oh my, there are all sorts of tools and contraptions in here that I've never laid my eyes on before. Susato-san, that spark of wonder in your eyes. You can't wait to score the solves, can you? The impression you enjoy places like this. Oh yes, I don't know why, but seeing such a lot of things I don't understand is a real thrill to me. My dear fellows, let us not forget why we are here. Oh, Mr. Sholmes. We are calling on matters of business, not pleasure. And clearly Mr. Sholmes means business, too, showing for the spark of fury in his eyes. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, welcome back. Did you hear that brazen welcome? Well, yes, we are potential customers, after all. We are disgruntled customers, Mr. Naruto. It's time to inform Mr. Windybank of our ire. Come, the fight is afoot. Alright, we just all present him with this again. Shabam. Mr. Windybank, about this. Let me see. I'll give you a tuppence for it. No, I don't want to pawn it. A tuppence, eh? The grandfather clock. What are you doing, my dear fellows? We are not here to browse for interesting curios. We have to come teach this brokers a lesson. Oh, but there are so many fascinating items. It's as though we have to talk to Mr. Windybank first before he gets exploded here, Mrs. Sato. Yeah. I'll do that first. Pawnbrokery. I wonder, can I ask you something? Well, a gentleman from the east, I see. Yes, that stable suit. I suppose I could offer you 6 pence for it. Well, wishing to offend, the tone is somewhat dull. Sorry? Aha! But for the splendid attire, madam. 5 guineas, no less. The colors are exquisite, the design exotic. Eastern artistry at its finest, may I say. Oh my, 5 guineas, you say? How interesting. Why do I feel as though I'm suffered some sort of defeat here? This is Sada just like doing this. It's just like, like, honestly, fucking, I love her so much. Actually, I was hoping to ask you about your business. I've heard it said that pawnbrokers are used rather like banks here in London. Yes, sir, indeed. Many of my customers utilize the establishment as you described. I appraise their items and offer them a proportionary loan and 2 months of secure stowage. If at the time they repay the original sum to me plus the agreed interest, the items are happily returned. Well, what happens if they don't pay you the money? The items are offered for sale in my shop, as you can see on the shelves behind me. So you never saw items for the 2 months has passed then? That's right, ma'am. That's right. Which means some considerable responsibilities rest on my shoulders. Should our customers' precious belongings be lost, the only recompense is for me to end it all. The very idea, Mr. Windybake, is an absurdity. One should never attack one's demise so casually. This is the man who was telling us it was a good day to die only this morning. And let us not forget that I have already helped you take measures to ensure such a tragedy never occurs. What sort of measures? I engineered a simple device, which Mr. Windybank has installed here in the shop. I call it the red-handed recorder. Is that not so, Mr. Windybank? What's that deep sigh about? Red-handed recorder? Wonder if this is a red-handed recorder. Use your eyes, my dear fellow. There are 2 just below the ceiling. I can see what appears to be a camera attached to some sort of timing device. Very astute. It's indeed a camera flourished with some 100 pieces of solenoid film. And every 30 minutes precisely, the camera automatically records the appearance of the shop. Here, I have an example I could show you. Yes, a print from the camera set to record the activity on the shop counter. I developed a special type of film to sensitivity. It produces a crystal clear image, even in darkness. Really? That's extraordinary. You can clearly see the counter and the door behind it. Look. So you see, were someone to enter the premises with ill intent, his identity would be summarily exposed. But did you not say that photographic prints were taken at 30-minute intervals? Indeed, as you say, my dear madam. Then what if the incident were to occur between times? One could say that would be a cruel twist of fate. I must confess your devices have been giving me some cause of distress of late. Beg your pardon, Mr. Windybake. Surely they are anything but distressing. Reassuring is the word. It's the cost of the film, sir. You most graciously placed not one, but 2 cameras in my shop, after all. Which means I must pay for nigh on 100 utterly useless prints every single day. Afraid the cost of the film will break me before I'm very much older. Nevertheless, a small price to pay to ensure the safety of my preferred pawnbrokery, no? My dear fellows, we verge on an age where safety and security come at a price. Oh, heavens help us. Then the viola, then. Naturally, you recall this, which I retrieved from you some days ago. Yes. This second-rate fiddle is not my faithful instrument, Mr. Windybag. The color of the wood is different. It has holes in it. It's not even the same size. A wonderful summary of our observations, Mr. Sholmes. I'm so very sorry, sir. How utterly unforgivable of me. An inexcusable mistake for a pawnbroker. There's only one way to make amends. I shall have to take my own life. I don't think that would be necessary. Do you? If I may just say one thing before I pop off. Yes? It was you, sir, Mr. Sholmes, who took it upon himself to remove the item the other day, I believe. Sorry? As I recall, I entered the storeroom to fetch your violin when I heard, here it is. You did. And when I turned to, controvert you, you had taken the viola left, sir. However, there can be no doubt that the blame lies firmly on my own door for allowing you to leave. So I shall crumble across any longer. Man, may this guilt die with me. No, my dear fellow! The vault is mine! Phew. It would appear that the fight is over. Do humbly apologize, Mr. Windybag. Evidently my questionable disposition participated this tragedy. Well, you wouldn't be Mr. Sherlock Sholmes without it. A questionable disposition now, would you? I do believe you may be right, sir. It's either laugh or cry, I suppose. You are, it must be said, one of my more challenging customers. I didn't remind you of the particular collection of items you brought through my door in the past. Oh, particular items? In the extreme, madam. For example, the unpublished manuscript of the impious work, the novels of Sherlock Sholmes or some such. Oh my, a new full-fledged novel? An unpublished, a story I've yet to read, you mean? Forgive me. Wait, before you die, you must tell me more. This dude just up in here being Persona 3 up in this business. You must know more. Tell me everything. Wow, Sasada-san is really fired up now. Is there really an unpublished story? Under this very roof? Well, one day the gentleman here brought an old metal chest, you see. Should like to entrust this to your care for a while, Mr. Winterbank. For a chest like that, 1 shilling, sir. Now the feathering more. It houses something of great value indeed. The latest manuscript. Recounting the adventures of one Mr. Sherlock Sholmes. Beg your pardon, a manuscript? You wish to deposit a manuscript? Indeed I do. for I'm confident in it to be quite safe here. And that was that. As such, Mr. Sholmes' latest tale of otherworldly mystery lies dormant in my storeroom. Mr. Sholmes, is that really true? I sense that someone doesn't want to talk about this. Continue to pay your fee, do I not? That kindly continue to store my belongings securely. Of course, sir, of course. That's safe and sound with me, I assure you, on my life. This is all very strange. Now then, Mr. Sholmes, allow me to return your precious violin. Ah, the very thing. Thank you, Mr. Windyback. Perhaps this might mark the end of the particular items you try to problem. Because if anything were to happen to one of them, this would be the only answer. I really think you ought to stop waving the gun around. Someone could get hurt. Fear not. Sorry. I've only loaded a single bullet, so no one but myself could possibly be harmed. That's not really what I meant. Good day to you then, Mr. Windybank. It's been a pleasure as always, Mr. Sholmes. So, Mr. Nardo, now we can explore at last. Okay. So we can examine him. The enormous ledger open on the counter there. Mr. Windybank is, if nothing else, very particular about recording the items he accepts. He'd have to be, otherwise he'd get himself into all sorts of trouble. Trying to explain the thing that catches my eye far more than ledger. This revolver here. Do not entertain even a single thought of peripheral an article herein, my dear fellow. Huh? I assure you, Mr. Windyback will not hesitate to draw that weapon with a speed belaying his portably size. Oh, you don't mean he'd... blow his brains out? Indeed. In recompense for his blunder. Oh my. But in any case, of course he would never do such a thing. How could you even suggest it? I mean, I bet his life on it. What assortment of things there are on these shelves here? Crockery, footwear, clocks and watches, almost anything you care to imagine. Those are forfeited items, often for sale by the pawnbroker. What does that really mean, though? When you pawn or quickly pop an item, the broker loans you money against its worth. He stores the item for an agreed period of time, after which the loan must be repaid. If not, he is free to display it in his shop for sale, at the price of his choosing. Oh yes, now you've explained it. I'm noticing a little price tags on everything. Of course, simply by paying the agreed interest on the loan, one could extend the period of safekeeping. So you may pawn that black garb of yours without fear, my dear fellow. My treasured university uniform? Never! It embodies my student spirit. Okay. Oh yeah, we're supposed to get that. Let's get that next. Look at this! Look at this lovely big shiny box bee! That, my dear madam, is a music box. Surely you have something, some things in your own country. Oh my, yes! But I've certainly never seen one so large before. Shall we listen a while? Oh, what a sublime sound. It's like the music of angels. Never heard anything like it before in my life. This particular specimen is of a large variety, commonly known in public houses and restaurants. There's a metal disc inside of which the notes to be played are recorded. Simply by replacing the disc with another, any music to care to imagine can be played. My goodness, what a simply delightful machine! Indeed, though the popularity has waned recently with the development of the gramophone, of course. Ah, science and technology advance at such an overwhelming pace. They really do. Like, if you look at science, it goes kind of like this. Whoop, whoop. Like, it will do that. It will go for gradual and then steep like that. It'll go up in terms of its thing. Just the transformation between tape and CD took, I think, like 5 years to actually do. And then even then, we got a better CD. And even then, we're probably going to be switching Blu-rays and DVDs to little cartridges like from the Nintendo Switch, because those will be easier to put out and everything. And if that's the case, well, I certainly hope it will be like this, that we have our DVDs on. And I'll have a little carts like that. And yes, this is a full replica and everything of the little Nintendo Switch thing. This is Super Mario Odyssey, believe it or not. You get it as a little keychain. It costs a pretty penny, honestly, but it's just so darn cute and I love it. Like, I really do. I like these things. They're so cute. Look at that. Look how cute it is. Little side thing and everything. I wish it didn't have this keychain part, honestly. And like, there's some Etsy shops you can get some of these things on, but this is an official thing. I don't think it's officially made by Nintendo, but it's an official product, is what I'm trying to say here. The only problem is getting it out. Getting these cartridges out is not that easy in particular. But still, it's cool as heck. Okay. Now what do you suppose this rather enormous machine does? It seems to have 2 little windows for looking through. Allow me to enlighten you, my dear fellows. What are you looking at is a stereoscope. A stereoscope? Fascinating. It is aptly named, I assure you. Look through the eyepieces and see for yourself. Oh, I should be delighted to. Excuse me a moment. Why, just, have a look. Just before you do, there is something I should point out. My dear fellows, in order to see the image properly, stereoscopal is, as it were, you will need to be cross-eyed. However, if that is beyond you, there's a little consequence today. Alright then, I'm going to try. That's cute. Ah! Mr. Nardo, you must see! At once! Alright then. So I need to be cross-eyed. Like I'm trying to look at my nose. What the? I don't believe it. It's just a photographic print, but it seems like you could reach out and touch it. So what's the verdict? They guilty as hell? No, ain't nobody guilty. Yeah, we haven't even got to that part, Nikki. Right. We're just starting on case 5 here, and we're just kind of doing whatever before the big murder mystery happens, as it usually goes about in these games. So yeah. There's a photographic print, but it seems like you could reach out and touch it. Yes, the sense of death is startling, is it not? Stereoscopes are one of London's many fads. They are often found in little stalls in the park. People queue for hours to see them. Why? Why are people meddling with such black magic? There's no magic, my dear madam. It is, well, far too complicated to explain at present. We shall save this lesson for another day. What if there was a collab between Princess, Principal, and Ace Attorney? They both solve cases after all. I don't know. Principal is more akin to revolutionary stuff and whatnot, and spying and stuff. And Ace Attorney is more so changing the system from within, and it just doesn't really work in comparison. Like, the most you could have for a collab as such would be the Phoenix Wright defending the princess or something like that. But still good. Honestly, I love the little Phoenix Wright stuff where like he goes into other places and whatnot. Like, there's literally someone that made like a big thing of Ace Attorney, Phoenix Wright, going into the My Little Pony thing and doing like a whole entire like, we need to like solve the case and make sure this person's free and innocent. And I don't think I've ever seen the ending of it, but it was actually like a straight up like good case. Like, it was really interesting, and like the whole entire like how they brought Phoenix Wright into the series was just like, it's magic happened. We got the greatest lawyer in the universe type situation. I was like, oh, Phoenix Wright is the best lawyer out there. It was just really nice. Oh. April 13th. April 15th. It's not a calendar you could easily miss, is it? 15th April. Today's date. Yes, that's not for sale, I must point out. It's the Eastern style page-a-day calendar. Every night at midnight, I tear off the front page to reveal the following day's date. Perfect calendar for a tearaway fellow such as yourself, Mr. Windybank. Who was it who walked out here with the wrong violin before? Well, when the agreement storage period has passed without repayments, articles are forfeited, you see. So I had to keep a close eye on the date. Something of a pawnbroker's obsession, you might say. Oh yes, I could see you're very dedicated to your job. Did I see that? Yes, I did. I forgot to properly comment on it, but it was a cute little thing. Can't wait to have my tongue surgery so I don't become a bottom. Or something like that. It was something akin to that. I just love those stupid little things where they talk about like top surgery and bottom surgery as like, I'm already a bottom, you know? It makes me, it's nice little laugh. Look at this. Whatever could it be used for? I have no idea. There's a small catch just here, look. We're going to open it, aren't we? Oh! Oh my, that's amazing! It has some sort of a spring-load mechanism. Which we'll never manage to pull back the way it was before. What are you two doing? What? Us? Nothing. No, nothing at all! Where this device is, it seems to have a pair of little windows to look through. I feel as though I've seen something rather similar to this elsewhere. Sounds like there's an argument brewing over by the counter. Oh, it's her again! Yay! I like her. I like that feisty girl. There's something about girls in crime that got me going. And then she's like also a bit of a tomboy. I know she's like really young, but like I'm not saying like I'm gonna date her or nothing. Just I like her aesthetic. Wait, don't we know? I'm sure I recognize her. Oh yes, it's the young lady from Mr. McGlynn's trial 2 months ago. Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She is a chancer, earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. Place you got a little bag and everything. It's cutesy. Gordon Benny, you lot! Hello, Mr. Lestrade. I hope you're, been well. What? You remember me name, then? Do they? Well, I remember being completely surrounded by smoke, that's for sure. So what are you doing here? Down and out like the rest of us, nothing to eat, come to pop that black weasel, sour coat, and have it. What is it about this black uniform that makes everyone comment on it? Good day, unless I'm much mistaken. You would be the young pickpocket who stole our experimental smoke grenade launcher. Ah, Mr. Holmes! Sholmes! So you have something of value upon, do you? Allow me to see the article and I shall negotiate with Mr. Windapink on your behalf. Pull the other one! I don't need your help from some stuck-up D! Get out of my business! Go on or I'll make trouble for you! As you wish, Miss Lestrade. I will happily remove myself from your presence. He's really done it. He's gone. I'm sorry, but as I said, there really is no room for negotiation here. What's the thing he has in his hand? Some kind of metal disc? And you! Go on! Leave me alone! Oh, Miss Lestrade, just pretend we aren't here. We shan't be offended in the slightest. Susato-san can really stand her ground when she wants to. She really can, and that's why she's, like, the best. Like, Maya's all like, oh, please help me, hamburger ramen. I need it. And Susato's just kind of like a Chad in every way, shape, and form, and I love her for that. Well, let's present her with this. Would you have a look at, strange, where's my armband gone? What's the problem? Something wrong? Don't suppose. You're looking for this? Yes, but how? And when? And how again? Got a talent for it, haven't I? Divine. It's bordering on black magic. And it makes what I was about to say about my armband seem a little dull. So what do you want to tell me about it, then? Converters, pawnbroker's customer. Somehow I didn't really think you were the sort of person who'd use a pawnbroker, Miss Lestrade. Yeah, well I am, aren't I? I'm a Londoner, just like everyone else. That a problem, is it? No, not at all. It's just that, well... Oh, I get it. I know what you're thinking. That thing probably don't ever belong to her. Probably got it in the divide, didn't she? Yeah, I could see it written all over your Chevy Chase. Well, I might have been thinking something along those lines. You're not going to deny it, Mr. Nardo. Alright, then I'm just gonna come out and ask you straight. Do you pawn things that you steal from other people? Well, I don't know best to answer that, really. Suppose, sometimes. You're not going to deny it either, Miss Lestrade? But not this time, alright? I swear! That thing belongs to me! This that Mr. Windabreak is holding. Perhaps we should see what he has to say about all this. Okay, so we examine him. We talked to him about Mr. Lestrade's disc, Gina Lestrade. She's been here before, of course, this little Tamberlin. I see. Got some dubious article or other with her every single time, I might add. Dubious? What are you trying to say? I'm the honest customer, me. So is there something dubious about the disc she brought in today? Well, if only it were that simple. Sorry, what do you mean? What she actually brought in was a storage ticket. A storage ticket? So, Mrs. Strahd has actually come to redeem an article from you today? Is that right? Yeah, that's right. A girl like me is a lot of stuff. What needs stolen? Alright, yes, that's definitely dubious. The article in question would have been forfeited at midnight tonight. As she gave me the ticket for it and repaid both the loan and the interest, I was obligated to return the article to her. What was the article? Do tell us, Mr. Winterbank. The little scamp is wearing it, ma'am. It's the overcoat that she redeemed? Oh. What? What's wrong with it? It fits, don't it? I mean, it's mine, so of course it does. So, what about the disc then? How does that come into all this? No, the disc is something else. A new article to pawn. If the girl and I could agree a price. New article to pawn? I'm confused. I thought you said that Mr. Strahd brought in a storage ticket today. It's really quite simple. Yes, the child brought me a storage ticket and the money owed on it, as you say. For this heavy black coat, which you returned to her care, as I understood it. That's right, yes. Rather unsurprisingly, as soon as a little ragamuffin put the thing on, she went rifling through the pockets. Oh, you mean... What? Don't you know it's rude to stare at a lady? Ah, I see. So it came from the pocket of the overcoat, did it? If you mean this disc, then yes. Exactly, ma'am. And she immediately tried to pawn it? For quite a high price as well. This is all rather suspicious, I think. Keep it up. She's trying to pawn something like anyone else would. Mr. Strahd, may I ask you who deposited the overcoat here in the first place? Well, me. It doesn't really appear to be your size. Me old man! It's me old man, ain't it? Is it Mr. Strahd? Yes, this is definitely all rather suspicious. Oh? Oh, he's the bad guy in this. He's the bad guy. Look at him. He's either A, the bad guy, or B, the dude that gets shot and killed. Or whatever the heck that's going to happen here. Who's this picture postcard English gentleman? Good day to you, ladies and gentlemen. What's your problem, eh? There's no problem as long as you remove yourself. I have a matter to discuss with the proprietor. And if you intend to make a problem of it, I shall see you outside, little girl, for the hiding you deserve. Look, ain't it obvious? I ain't done talking with him yet. You think you're such a gent, you should know what to wait in line. Well, you are an impudent little brat, aren't you? As well as a pickpocket. Who are you? What do you want? Who do you know who I am? The question is, how do you not know who I am? You haven't the courtesy even to remember the faces of your victims, it seems. What? You mean from you? Broker. Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pickpocket thief has been redeemed an article from you, no? Yes, the article in question belongs to me. Demand for it to be returned at once. Oh my. Now that's a lie! What are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you are strong. And needless to say, any music box disc too. No. You can't have it. You just can't. It's my old man's. Well, it was. Now it's mine. Goodness, Mr. Nardo. This is a very awkward situation. Yes. I think perhaps we should hear both sides of the story in a little more detail. Okay. So, Simon. Let's talk to him some more. What's Lestrade's disc? Mr. Windybank, what exactly is that metal disc that Miss Lestrade has brought in? It seems to have hundreds of tiny little bumps on its surface. What's up, y'all? Oh, Zazel! I'm glad to see that you're here. It's good to finally have you here. We're talking about little bumps on things, musical stuff. Oh, this is a musical disc, you see? For use inside a music box. In a music box? Well, you don't even know what a music box is. Yeast lot ain't too savvy, eh? You know what a music box is? I just never seen one of these discs before. Small protrusions of the metal disc encode the tune to be played by the music box. Braille music, yep. You could literally read music while you're blind. You simply insert the disc and set the machine going. Beautiful music plays. So incredible. Tell us, what tune is on this disc? Well, I'm afraid I couldn't tell you that. There are many different types of music boxes, you see. British made, German, Swiss. I had no way of knowing what particular machine this disc was made for. Ah, I see. That's it in a nutshell. Wouldn't have any customers for an item like this. You know, the young lady form-fitted it. Really, I'm already offering up more than I should at a penny. That's back the lies. You can tell me, and in it said it was, well... He? Who? Never you mind. It just ain't right, that's all. This worth good money, I know it is. Well then, you'll have to try your luck at another pawnbroker's, won't you? Okay, so we did all that. This dude, honestly. Let's talk to her. She gives off major lesbian vibes. She does. She absolutely does, and I love her for it. Like, honestly, she is easily one of my favorite character designs in this game. But, like, generally speaking, Ace Attorney has a lot of good character designs for the girls. Like, Susato-san's really good. And, like, there's also, Maya's sister, Mia Faye. She is, she's great. And she also has the big booba. And, like, there's also, the prosecutor lady that was her girlfriend, but not really. there's just a lot. There's a lot of great girls in it. Like, Francesca's really good. So is Athena. Athena's really cute. I love Athena with her little enthusiasm and whatnot. Then there's Athena's mom. Oh my god. And there's like that case. Oh, it's so good. What is the type? It's not my fault. It's not my fault that I have a type. All girls are good though. Miss Lestrade, is what the gentleman is saying. What you thinking? It's all lies, ain't it? Obviously. Swear on my life, I ain't never laid eyes on that Danny before. Let's hear it now, you little ragamuffin. Stole it, didn't you? I take it you brought in here just now. No, I swear it. Swear to God. It was barely an hour ago. was walking along the street minding my own business when this little gutterling ran into me. I knew at once what had happened. I've been robbed yet again, I thought to myself. Those wretched pickpockets. Yet again? Oh yes. As you can see, I'm a man of impeccable style. This isn't the first time I've been targeted by these backslum scoundrels. Now then, relinquish my overcoat. Come along, Mr. Strahd. Give the good old gentleman his coat back. If you're going to cause trouble, I shall have no choice but to call the police. Hold on. Why does everyone think it's me? Just look at the standing cough. You think I'm the dodgy one? Honestly, yeah. Sorry, but no one's going to believe you. Well, what about evidence? Yeah. Where's your evidence I've stolen something, eh? Come on, let's see it. Oh, I have evidence. Naturally. You what? Evidence. Evidence that the article Mr. Strahd redeemed actually belongs to this gentleman? Of course. You need only consult Mr. Winterbrink's legislature to know the truth. We have to look up the name of the person who deposited the article in the first place. Yes, brilliant! Very sorry, but I'm afraid that won't be possible. Oh? Never ask customers' names. It's a strict policy of mine. But why not? Well now, as you can imagine, some of my customers have circumstances to consider. A great many of them prefer to maintain their anonymity. Yes, I see. But then how can you know if the article belongs to the person asking to redeem it? Oh, it's quite simple. Good sir, may I trouble you for the watchword associated with the article in question? Of course, it's Professor. Yes, that's right. Now the evidence we need. This gentleman is the rightful owner of the article. Without doubt. A watchword? Interesting. Watchwords. So about these watchwords, Mr. Windybank. So I just explained. Never ask customers' names when they deposit items with me. There are many reasons why. Certain customers would like to keep their activities secret. That wasn't exactly a subtle glance at Mr. Sholmes now, was it? Quick detectives have no dark secrets. None at all! Yes, well, anyway. That's why I always ask for a watchword whenever I accept a new article. In many ways, it's like the secret combination of numbers used to unlock a vault. A data deposit, a description, and a watchword uniquely identifying each item. And of course, then I give the storage ticket to the customer. When someone comes to redeem something, I ask for the ticket and the watchword. And if someone tells you the correct watchword, you return the article? That's right, sir. Just as soon as the relinquish fee is paid. I've supplemented you with information you require already, but for the avoidance of doubt. The article in question is an overcoat, despite 2 months ago, on 15th February. The watchword of Professor. Oh, perfectly correct information, sir. But how? Really, this is beyond a joke now. There is no further room for doubt. Oh, this poor girl. I'm sure she's actually telling the truth. I don't see it any other way. Then again, I just believe lesbians, so it's just easier to believe them. Look at Mr. Windybank watching diligently over his shop. There are so many things I'm curious about. I don't believe this is a time for browsing, Mr. Nartho. We should probably see whether the argument's been resolved yet, I suppose. Picture postcard gentleman. Excuse me, but who are you? One would explain the inquirer to introduce themselves first. Though clearly you're not British, so perhaps our ways are foreign to you. Oh, sorry. Yes, we're from the Empire of Japan. We're studying here. Oh yes, Japan. Heard talk of the place. What was this? What was this? Its inhabitants live on some fiery brown-colored soup, dressed up in with exotic spices. You might be thinking of somewhere else. What was that theatrical, gesticulation about? Perhaps, anyway. If you're a gentleman, sir, you have your own name first, before inquiring after the name of another. Of course, yes! Renosuke, Renosuke and Naruto. I'm a lawyer. Well, a student of law, really. My name is Hisato Mikotoba. I am Mr. Naruto's assistant. Let's see. My name is Benedict. Yes, Egg Benedict. Fucking Eggs Benedict! We got Eggs Benedict motherfucker up in here! That's him! Enchanted. He's so refined in how he holds himself and how he speaks. But the name is suspicious. Yeah. I still don't know what Eggs Benedict is. Like, people keep telling me it's just like Eggs Benedict, but like, what does that mean? I don't get it. Because I've always wanted to have my Eggs Benedict, but I don't know what that means. Is it a lot like McDonald's eggs? I don't know. Because I like sunny side up eggs. I like scrambled eggs in certain degrees. Omelets are okay, but like, they're always a little too omelette-y for me, honestly. Or like Eggs Benedict. Oh, please, babe, you would not do this, dude. He is not your type. Now, to the matter at hand. What is this? My overcoat. Return to it at once. To someone with the style to carry it off. Every move he makes, every breath he takes, can't stand watching him. Yeah, but he's a bottom. So, let that be the end of that matter. Thank you for your custom. Mr. Egg Benedict, sir. Such reasonable rates of interest. I may even decide to come back. This is why I hate grown-ups. It's because I'm a diver. Someone thinks that makes me a lawyer. And the contents of the coat pockets, if you please, broker. But of course, sir. There's the disc for you. Just this one. Pardon, sir? It's expecting another. This is... I deposited another. Another disc? Oh, oh dear. I regret to inform you, sir, that was deposited with me was merely the overcoat. The disc happened to be in one of the pockets, but I was completely unaware of it until now. So, Girdling, you're hiding more of that what's rightfully mine, are you? Says who, eh? I don't know nothing about it. Very well. Eggs Benedict is a sunny side up egg on an English muffin and Canadian bacon with Pacific sauce called a Holden slice. That's what it is? Then I love Eggs Benedict, because that sounds great. Can I please have that right now? I want that so bad. My mom used to make it sometimes when she was like waking up and going to work and stuff. She would wake me up like really early. Like really, really early. And we're talking like 3 a.m., 4 a.m. type situation. Sometimes if it was good, it was 5 a.m. and she would drive me over to my dad's house because like I would go over there during the weekends, and she would like do that on a Monday or something like that. And basically she would do that sometimes where she would just like she would cook like breakfast, and like she would wake me up just to have me eat breakfast. Sometimes I would go take a shower and I would literally fall asleep in the shower. I literally gained that habit of falling asleep in the shower, and I do fall asleep in the shower because she woke me up so I could just go in and just like do that. Like it took me like an hour to like like go through the shower because of that. And yes, I did sleep standing up. I don't know what to tell you because like that warm water gets on your back and just like it feels so good. It feels so insanely good. That's honestly impressive. Thank you, babe. I try to be impressive. But like the only thing you do is just like you kind of like sleep like this, where your head's like kind of hits one of the corners of the shower, and you could just kind of like sleep like that, just like kind of like rest your eyes a little bit. You couldn't sleep for too long. It was very much like a not great sleep, but like it was enough to like rest your eyes and everything, and it felt so bloody good. It felt so good. God, I haven't had that in a long while. I kind of want to do that again, honestly. Just like have the warm water hit my lower back. Oh baby, that's the good stuff. I haven't been in a hot tub for a hot minute either, or in a pool for that matter. I want to go swimming again, but like I don't have anything to really wear for swimming, not no more. So it's kind of a hard thing. I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye to style. Wait a minute, that disc is mine. What do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Oh my, yes, there's blood on the disc. Because of all those sharp little bumps. The man must have scratched his finger on them. Found it first, alright? I mean, it belonged to me old man. So yeah, I'm not having it. Well, you take it. Me? If I ain't onto it, they'll have it off of me again. So if you keep hold of it... Mr. Strahd, why is this disc so important to her? Okay. You there, in the black livery. Hand that disc at me at once, please. No, don't. He's lying. Grown-ups are all liars. What do I do now? How am I going to resolve this? Oh. I guess we go look over there. Wow, Mr. Strahd's really looking daggers at the mysterious gentleman. We need to do something to calm things down before she loses control and attacks him again. Yep. Mr. Sholmes? What are you examining with such keen interest there? As you enjoy a bar of caramel, I see. So, you found me at last, Mr. Nardo. Sorry? That young pickpocket sent me on my way. I was forced to lurk in the shadows. Cruelly ostracized, as the rest of you partook in the juvenile atmosphere of fellowship. Yet nothing could occupy my mind. I was so too ashamed to let society see what my downfall had done to me. So feigning mock interest, I pretended to examine the tedious trinkets in this desolate place. Whilst, as you shrewdly observed, gnawing on the only friend I had left, the 7% solution of caramel. Pray, do you claim to understand the depths of my despair, Mr. Nardo? But how could you? I was so lonely, so desperately lonely. Then why on earth didn't you rejoin the conversation? Things have gone from bad to worse here, you know? Yes, I overheard such much of your conversation. or rather in my cravings for human contact. My ears devoured every word that was uttered. You really were sad, weren't you? Little girl yells at Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes is depressed forever. That just gets me. Poor Mr. Sholmes. I feel simply awful for you. It would seem. By my inference are correct. Oh, surely you're not going to tell us that you solved the entire case once again? My dear madam, sometimes I wonder, were my genius for deduction to be commoditized, how much could I pawn it for? It seems Mr. Sholmes had another one of his flashes of inspiration. Who knows if it will help to resolve the situation between Miss Lestrade and the mysterious gentleman. It's the right thing to do here. Yeah, listen to deduction, honestly. Come on now. Well, Miss Lestrade, it would appear you find yourself in something of a predicament. Where the blue blazes have you been, eh? Pardon? When a lady's in trouble, a true gent's supposed to be there to help. Straight away! Not a while longer. Harsh. Who, pray tell, are you? Mr. Egbert Benedict. You have, in my eyes, a veritable encyclopedia, a range of curiosities about your person. Nevertheless, there are two immovable conclusions I have drawn. Beg your pardon. First is this. True reason for your visit to the pawnbrokery today, something that you have not yet revealed. And the second is this. Considerable crime is in contemplation. One you will orchestrate with intent to steal a vast sum of money. Well, Mr. Benedict, what say you to my deductions? How? He's turned as white as a hard-boiled egg. It seems that once again, Mr. Sholmes has made a flawless deduction. Just who do you think you are, sir? Ah, yes, as I hoped. That is precisely the pained expression I was looking for. So, shall we begin? The time has come for yet another Sherlock Sholmes Logic and Reasoning Spectacular. Here we go again. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Topic 1. Mystery Man's Aim. First of all, we must ask ourselves on what business you ventured to this pawnbrokery today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different. As revealed by which you hold in your hand. Yes, which brought you to this shop in this first place is a staff recruitment flyer. Piece of paper in your hand is a staff wanted advertisement for this very shop. Yet even the most unobservant would soon realize that a man of your appearance has no need for such employ. In other words, there is some other ulterior motive for your actions. The cane which you unwittingly clutch to your person exhibits an incontrovertible, I hate this word, contradiction. What utter rot. I've had this cane for years. The contradiction of which I speak of is, of course, missing a ferrule. The end of your walking cane will be determined with a metal ferrule to protect the wooden tip. And yet detailed analysis shows that the wooden tip of this stake to be utterly bare. Therefore, there is only one conclusion. The rod that you hold in your hand, which appears to be a walking cane, is in fact no cane at all. You recoil, sir. Is something wrong? In your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitated the answer of the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle which you evidently would like to conceal is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. For the moment I saw it, my suspicions were aroused. When walking a cane demands such astute handle, mused I. But of course, as I said, there's no walking cane. No, that rod. It's the broken handle of a shovel. What? Are you insane? And now, having determined this undeniable truth, the conclusion is clear. Your true motive for coming here was to take employment at this establishment in order to excavate the ground beneath the premise. What a calculated crime you have conceived, sir. A wickedly calculated crime. To tunnel underneath the pawnbrokery. What? Great crime. Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have been planning. This is utterly absurd. Suggest that I, a gentleman, intend to excavate the ground beneath this pawnbrokery with a broken shovel. What on earth do you propose I could expect to find there? Some long-forgotten treasure, I suppose. Save for such a fancy theory, what possible reason could I have to do as you say? But there is ample reason. As you are only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. And your furtive glance, is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let us consider what would motivate a man to infiltrate a shop such as this, and covertly dig beneath its floors. The answer is revealed by the console note on the corner to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. This letter gives notice of public works to be carried out in the local area. And according to the enclosed plan of the upcoming sewerage workings, beneath the shop runs a sewer that adjoins another, one that runs under the bank of the opposite side of the road. This madness has entered the sewers now, has it? By excavating the ground beneath your feet, you would gain access to the waterway that flows in a very close proximity to the great vault of the financial institution opposite. What are you? In summary, sir, you devise a master plan to pull off an elaborate bank robbery by dint of the underground tunnels. Master plan? This brings us to at last the final chapter of this alluring scheme. With what blunder did the thief hope to make off from the underground vault of the bank? Are you quite serious? Having consulted with Scotland Yard some days ago, I happen to know the answer. By naturally, the answer is no secret to you, is it, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. And I will present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us what we need to know. Oh, it's the little thing! It's the little thing that they had in the previous carriage that shows that 6 months ago there would be a thing, Paris thing. Postcard of the Great Expedition. I'm afraid you quite lost me. Currently in the final stages of preparation, the Great Exposition will soon be underway, and the government has provided extra funds to complete this centerpiece, the Crystal Tower. Funds that currently sit in the vault of the bank on the other side of this road. Pardon? Yes, a considerable crime you have been contemplating is the death of that which sits in the vault of this bank, the special reserved funds for the Great Exposition. Of course, this is a top secret police information, so keep it under your hat, please. Great crime. To steal the Great Exposition's reserved funds. That does not sound correct at all, sir. Thus concludes Herlock Sholmes' great deduction of this pawnbroking puzzle. Mr. Sholmes? Well, Mr. Nardo, an impressively upbeat deduction for the detective racked with loneliness. Would you not agree? Is it true what you said about the bank over the road? What is has in its vault? Indeed, though few know of his existence, it is one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Grayson told me in the strictest confidence. But you just announced it to everyone here. Rather loudly, in fact. Ah! And if it's such a big secret, how would Mr. Benedict have come to find out about it? There could be one explanation for that. Clearly it's because the man is a criminal. The man is a criminal, and therefore he knows how to commit crimes. It's clearly that. But if he didn't know anything about the money in the vaults, if he is a criminal, as you say, then buying a brand new shovel is sure to be the first thing he does now that you revealed the secret. Oh. Or if he doesn't, maybe Mr. Wildenbank will. He already has plenty of shovels here, after all. On my life, I swear to you, I'm not so unscrupulous. Well, hopefully this has taught you a valuable lesson. Sensitive information must be handled with the utmost care. We can never be sure that someone privy to the secrets won't disclose them. And once the word is out, it's out. Perhaps I'll think twice before confiding in you next time, Mr. Sholmes. An excellent idea, Mr. North. An excellent idea. Well then, Mr. Nardo, you know what to do, I'm sure. Yes, let's listen to the great deduction again, and see if we can massage it into shape. And this is just, it gets me every time. Very well then, let us start once more from the beginning. Of Herlock Sholmes' magnificent logic and reasoning spectacular. Here we go again. Course correction. Hold it, Mr. Sholmes. Mystery man's aim. Well, first of all, we must ask ourselves of what business you ventured this pawnbroker today. You claim to have followed this pickpocket here, having had the redemption ticket stolen from you on the street. But that is most certainly a lie. The real truth is something quite different, as revealed by that which you hold in your hand. Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place, the staff recruitment flyer. So by Mr. Sholmes' reasoning, Mr. Bennett came here in order to apply for a job so he could dig down through the floor? Yes, in an attempt to tunnel into the sewers, gain access to the money in the vault of the bank across the road. But he wouldn't get very far with a broken shovel, would he? No, I think it's fair to say his motives lie elsewhere. The question is, where? Why did Mr. Benedict here at this particular point bring Mr. Benedict here at this particular point in time? He angry. Oh, scribble writing. Oh. Look at all the scribbled notes on the back of the flyer here. don't believe it. What is it? Listen to what it says. Name Gina Lestrade. Height 5'2". Green cap, scruffy waistcoat, crumbly white shirt, blue satchel, ragged. It's a detailed description of Miss Lestrade. Goodness. There's even a sketch of her, hat and all. I wish someone would draw me with a hat. I don't look good in hats, but like, drawing me in a hat. Although if he showed it to her, she'd fire that smoke grenade launcher in his face for sure. And look, the details of the shop have been written down here too. Winterbrink's Brokery, Baker Street. Redemption deadline 15th April. Which is today's. Why would Mr. Benedict have all the information scrawled on the back of that piece of paper? Draw me like one of your hot girls? Yeah, exactly.
Take that!
Yes, what brought you to this shop in the first place is the info about Miss Lestrade. Quite so, my dear fellow. It would appear that the writing and sketch on the reverse of the flyer portrayed to the pickpocket Miss Lestrade and to Mr. Windabank's pawn brokery here. You originally told us that you had merely given chase after Miss Lestrade stole the redemption ticket from you. But that, sir, is a thinly veiled lie. It is the information on the back of the flyer that led you here today. By which I mean here to win Windabank's pawnbrokery, and today, the redemption deadline of that overcoat. So you waited outside for the young girl, matching the description you have written down to arrive. You've gone to for some lengths to hide the reason for your pursuit of Miss Lestrade. In other words, there is some ulterior motive for your actions. The cane which you unwittingly clutched to your person exhibits an incontrovertible contradiction. But utter rot. I've had this cane for years. Contradiction which I speak is, of course, missing a ferrule. What's a ferrule? It's the metal cap commonly found at the end of a cane, Mr. Naruto. And the bit that makes the nice clanking sound on the pavement? Yes, exactly. And Mr. Sholmes is right. It appears to be missing on this cane. Doesn't it actually look broken, does it? No, it doesn't. Though the gentleman certainly did recoil when Mr. Sholmes identified the cane as suspicious. In other words, there's some secret about the cane that Mr. Benedict would rather we don't know. Is there anything in particular about him? Usually it's like right here. It's like on the opposite end of whatever the heck Sholmes said. It's hard to like get at it. Initialing. Yeah, it says AG. Look here, Mrs. Otto. There's some letters on the handle. Ah yes, those must be initials, I think. In the West, it's customary for people to engrave their belongings with the first letter of their names. So Herlock Sholmes would be HS, you mean? That's right. The initials on this cane, obviously. Oh. AG? Why does it feel as though that's not quite right?
Take that!
Dumb bitch. The contradiction of which I speak is, of course, the initialing. A most astute observation, wouldn't you say, Mr. Egbert Benedict? We are led to believe, sir, that your initials are EB. Yet, in the most possessive manner, you have in your grasp a cane bearing the initials AG? An incontrovertible contradiction indeed. Would you not agree? No, you're wrong. This cane isn't... said before that you'd had that cane for years. So don't try to tell us that you just borrowed it from a friend or found it in a park. In short, though you hold yourself to be a gentleman, you have withheld your true name. You recoiled, sir. Is something wrong? And in your recoiling, you inadvertently facilitated the answer to the next conundrum to present itself. Namely, what is the truth behind this rod you bear? Yes, your reaction betrays the truth. The handle, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Consider the bare bones of what's happening here. Mr. Lestrade redeemed that fine-looking coat. And now a mysterious man has appeared introducing himself with a fake name, and claiming that the overcoat belongs to him. But we know that he actually identified Mr. Lestrade from a written description, which suggests that everything else he's told us is untrue. So what we need to do here, somehow prove that the overcoat could not possibly belong to him. Okay. How do we do that? Oh, get ripped. Get ripped. Oh, the seam on the shoulder there is coming apart. Seam on the shoulder is coming apart. Look. So it is. Do you know, a moment ago, when Mr. Benedict was surprised by something that was said, I thought I heard him make a rather strange noise, something that's a bit like a tiny growl. Now I think about it, probably was the sound of a seam ripping open. If you look closely, it does seem to be a very tight fit. Sleeves are stretched to bursting, and he wouldn't have a hope of fastening it to the front. If you were to run it now, I'm sure the whole thing would fall apart. That I'd like to see. Sorry? So how can we make Mr. Benedict run around? She's really giving this some thought. She just wants to see somebody naked. She just wants to see somebody naked.
Take that!
The split seam, which you evidently would like to conceal, is the key to understanding this riddle, you see. Yes, because the overcoat is rather obviously a poor fit. Having forced it over your broad shoulders, the seam is already breaking apart. My suspicions were aroused from the outset. When you so blatantly lied about your name and so bluntly waylaid this pickpocket. This catalog of untruths has all been one very specific purpose. To steal the article that the young girl redeemed from Mr. Windibank. Ah! But what really irks me is this. Considerable crime I initially imagined has been considerably curtailed. To abscond with the redeemed item. Boo -boo -boo. I love the word abscond. It's so good. Abscond! Now, Mr. Benedict, let us continue. For we must expose the details of this elaborate crime you have in the planning. This is utterly absurd. It's just that I, the gentleman, designed a wheeze to flincham daughtery article of pawnage. You've forgotten that I redeemed this article in the proper manner using the watchword. Had I been the one that deposited in the first place, how could I possibly have known the relevant detail in this pulse? Oh, but the watchword can be discovered. As you are the only too well aware, Mr. Benedict. Your fertile gaze is more telling than I could have hoped. What? Let's consider how one might come to learn a secret watchword. relating to the pawned property of another. The method is revealed by the council notice, on the corner of which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. The direction of deduction must change rather dramatically now, I think. Yes, no more talk of tunneling into the sewer. Which is a pity, because it all sounded rather exciting. Anyway, can't deny that this mysterious gentleman, didn't know the watchword. Yes, Professor. He didn't know the word. Mr. Windbanks would never allow you to redeem the article. Or looking at it another way, you did know the word. Mr. Windbank would allow you to redeem the article whether it was yours or not. So the question is, could this gentleman have found the watchword out somehow? Yeah, the council noticed probably. Notelet. Look at this, Mr. Sato. It appears to be a memo that Mr. Winterbank has scribbled to himself. Let's see. What does it say? Oh, Professor! Mr. Windbank must have taken note of the watchwords his customers give him right before his eyes. An alarmingly clear script as well. Oh dear. I don't know where to look. Who knows what other secrets I might see? Should be where the watchwords are.
Take that!
No, man. The method is revealed by the notelet on the counter to which your eyes were inadvertently drawn. Yes, the broker here follows the same procedure whenever a customer comes to redeem an article. He asks the customer for the watchword and notes down a response uttered on a notelet he has to hand. Then he consults his ledger and confirms whether or not the watchword matches that of the article in question. Expect nothing less of an intelligent pawnbroker. But his diligence clearly has its disadvantages. What are you talking about? It's increasingly apparent that you were present in this shop before your accusation against Miss Lestrade. In all likelihood, you followed her inside and then observed her talking to Mr. Winterbank. When a diligent broker made a note of the watchword, as is his common practice, you observed him writing the word Professor on the notelet beside the ledger. And that, sir, was the master plan you devised to steal the pawned article from the young Miss Lestrade. Master plan! Which brings us at last to the final chapter of this lurid scheme. Why would you go to such lengths to redeem the particular article from this pawnbroker? Are you quite serious? For an ill-fitting overcoat hardly seems to justify the effort, much less a worthless music box decks. But naturally, you have a very good reason to make them yours, don't you, Mr. Benedict? I have no idea what you're talking about. Let me present a rather interesting piece of evidence. You see, this picture postcard tells us what we all need to know. The article we're talking about are the overcoat and the music box disc that was in one of his pockets, which according to Mr. Winterbank isn't even worth a penny. Yet this man went to such lengths to steal them. Why? I wonder if perhaps we already have the evidence we need to explain it, Mr. Ronaldo. Could we? Really? I better have a thorough look through the evidence we've collected so far. What could it be? What could it be? It's impossible to tell! This is too much! There's too much information here! I can't tell! Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, catch a tiger by its toe. If it hollers, the spit's sold. Oh my goodness. Let's see this. The little bumps. Ooh. For McGlind. Oh, there's a little scrap of paper stuck on the reverse side of the disc. Look! A scripted word or two. It looks like somebody's name. For McGlynn. McGlynn? It couldn't be. But it is, Mr. Donado. A name I shall never forget for as long as I live. But why? Why is his name on this? Ooh. Updated information. Look at the little bumps on the disc. They're so tiny. Yes, the protrusions are called pins, and they pluck the teeth of the comb to make notes. And just on the edge, there's a small amount of blood. It's the blood of the mysterious Mr. Egbert Benedict. When Miss Lestrade tried to grab the disc from him, the pins scratch his fingers, it seems. Like when you're granting some daikon radish and accidentally catch your fingers. Ouch, just thinking about it hurts. It puts me off eating radish. Yeah, same. I can't eat radishes now. Them's the rules.
Take that!
You see, this music box disc tells us all we need to know. What's that on the back? It reads for McGlynn. Oh. Mr. Magnus McGlynn. The unfortunate philanthropist who perished in curious circumstances at the Old Bailey 2 months ago. A prompt man in London, though his loan-mongering demonstrated a distinct lack of scruples. So you're an associate of his, are you? Or perhaps a subordinate? Mr. McGlynn was a man of unusual small stature. In fact, he is precisely the right size for that overcoat that you squeezed yourself into. Ugh. Your true identity remains shrouded in mystery, Mr. Egbert Benedict. But the final conclusion here isn't crystal clear. The reason you came to this pawnbrokery today was to retrieve an article left behind by the late Magnus McGlynn. To acquire an item deposited by Mr. McGlynn. That's how it go. Well, Mr. Magnus McGlynn. Not a name I expected to hear in these circumstances. Mr. Sholmes, I'm afraid there's something very troubling on my mind. Pray tell, Mrs. Sato. According to what Mr. Windbank told us earlier, today was the final day on which the coat could have been redeemed, was it not? Yes, madam, that is correct. Today will be precisely 2 months since it was first deposited. Well, the day is the 15th April, so 2 months ago today would have been 15th April, sir. 15th February, sir. That's right. It's all carefully recorded in my ledger. Deposited at 10:30 p.m. I see. What? But that suggests... Yes, 15th February. It's precisely the day at which the omnibus murder took place. 10:30 in the evening. Precisely the time at which the terrible events were unfolding. Suggestive is not the right word. It would have seemed the matter is entirely beyond coincidence. You are, of course, at liberty to make whatever outlandish deductions you choose. However... Gun! Gun! I must insist you hand over the music box disc now. It would be a terrible shame for you to return to your native land in a box. What do I do? Ah! No, I didn't want that. It just happened suddenly. I want to do the other thing. I need to give it, but what other choice do I really have here? Mr. Winterbake? Mr. Winterbake? This is my shop. I can't allow any harm to come to my customers. That would happen. I should have taken my own life. Sir Winterbake, no. Oh, thank God he's here. Inspector Grayson? Inspector. That's right, Sunshine. Our alarm was raised on one of our delicate emergency lines. So we got here as fast as we could. Now, what's all this about then? Oh, praise be! You're here at last. I was moments away from forfeiting my life in my very own establishment. It seems you have the upper hand. Right, you have a lot, some explaining to do. I don't appreciate it being bothered with some pretty agri-baggery. Patty? Mr. Winterbake very nearly met his end. Yep, by his own gun, as far as I can tell. Oh dear. And the whole, old Britain could meet with its end if I don't get to the bottom of the case I'm supposed to be working on. What on earth is the case, Inspector? Spare no details, Grayson. I might have said a little too much. No matter, it's nothing to do with you lot. Anyway, sir, you're gonna have to come with me down to the station. But of course, Inspector. He's getting away! Get after him, lads! Whistle the beat officer too. Sir! There's been a spat of thefts at pawn shops around here recently. So we're fitting emergency buttons underneath the counters for brokers to let us know when there's trouble. We're gonna go to sleep, no! I want to talk to you after this, babe. I hate it here. Worst timeline. Why is Slick gotta be homophobic? Huh? Tell me! You're so tired. Get sleep, babe. I'd rather you have sleep than anything else, but this is making me want to actually do recordings earlier, so I think I'm gonna start doing that. It won't be that much earlier, but it will be earlier. I think that's what I'm gonna do next. Not next stream, but next game. I'm gonna do that. I think. Yeah. Inspector, I was very worried there for a while. Very worried indeed. Now then, Mr. Permanently in Morden. Oh, yes. We're taking out whatever it is, Mr. McGlynn, down to the yacht. Thank you very much. Let's hand it over. Oh, yes, of course. No, don't. Don't give it to him. It's mine, that is. Mine. Sorry, miss. But anything belonging to McGlynn has to be taken in as evidence now. As evidence? If the police demand something as evidence, my dear fellow, we had no choice but contemplate. You better, babe, you better contemplate more, or else you get one of these. Because you'll like it. The police demand something as evident. Yeah, this is they can still do this, everybody. The police can still take stuff from you. They can literally ask you, can I step inside the house? Or they can look inside your house. Let's say, for instance, the policeman comes in, knocks on your door. Go like, ma'am, sir, we saw a little disturbance around here and whatnot. We're trying to figure out whether there's any kind of crime activity. If your door is open wide, and they could see something that may look like it's a crime, They could be like, actually, I'm gonna take that as evidence. And they don't need to explain what they're taking as evidence or why they're doing that. They just need to make a partial reasoning as towards that looks like it has evidence. That's it. So like, let's say for instance, a weed dealer ran through a neighborhood and the police officer is like going about, and you open the door because the weed dealer was through your backyard or whatever. So what they would do, the policeman would do, can we go look at your backyard? And you go do that, and it turns out that they see like a really big TV on there. There's nothing stopping the officer from going, oh yeah, that TV probably has like the weed in it, like the guy was able to like hide it in there and whatnot, and they just take it from you. That's the thing they could do. Why did we give them this power? The police force have too much power. They just legitimately do, and it concerns me to great end that there's a lot of people out there that just really, really like to support the police as a sort of dictatorship. And it's not like the police institution was founded on good morals. The police institution was founded on capturing slaves. The whole entire system itself is wrapped in a bunch of racist, institutional stuff and whatnot. And it's very hard to like really say that like the police is actually a good thing, because like, when be honest, it's a hard argument. It's a hard argument to mention and talk about. And while I do think there is a case in point to say there is quote unquote a good officer, it's more of ideal than it is actual truth. And for the most part here in America, we need to change the system itself before we do that. But suffice to say, this kind of stuff, sketch as fuck. It's all yours, Inspector. And so we handed Mr. McGlynn's disc over to Inspector Grayson. And we're summarily turfed out of the shop and onto the street. To be continued. Well then, we actually ended up pretty decent time here. Then that's good enough for us. So that's gonna be it for today. It is 2 hours and 30 minutes. That means we got enough time to just there. We're done, skis. So we're done for today. It was a good time. Thank you, Azazel, for coming on over, even though you were letting me. Thank you, Nikki, for showing up as well. It's a pleasure having you around, as always. Cactar, thank you for showing up and talking about your bottom, as always. It's fun to hear. Right Shitty Sands, thank you for talking about One Piece. It's always fun to talk to you about One Piece, about stuff and whatnot. Not exactly inherent to the conversation, but whatever. And Audacity, as always, thank you so much for being here too. And yeah, next time, everybody, we'll be continuing on this little case. What this had to do with anything, I don't know. But a little bit further, yeah? Till then, sayonara. Bye-bye.